He was a modern-day guy from the 4.0 era who followed a master to learn the Tao and cultivate, but he was more of a troublemaker than a student spending all day glued to his screen watching TikTok idols, the kind with big assets shaking their hips. His master scolded him many times, but when it's your passion, you could beat him for it, and he'd still keep scrolling. He even sarcastically asked his master why he hadn't ascended yet. How infuriating is that? It wasn't that he'd never read his master's book, but when he tried to perform a ritual, he was transported to another world. No golden finger system, no ancient bloodline. He had absolutely nothing. For 12 years, all he'd done was toil like an animal just to survive day by day. He couldn't even be bothered to Great Wei Year, 1452, Tranlong Prefecture, Kawu County blacksmith shop. Lao Yin was still selling his soul to the man for 30 coins a month. The work was grueling, but at least he could fill his stomach first. Only then could he worry about cultivation. Today was the day he got paid. He went to the foreman to collect his wages and asked for 2 days off. Lewin strolled out looking completely free and at ease. He had been transported here for over a month, and today he could finally leave this suffocating forge. He leisurely walked down the street he hadn't seen in a long time. His eyes couldn't hide his excitement, mixed with curiosity. But while wandering through the bustling market, Lewin's mind was still preoccupied with the talisman receiving ritual. As recorded in half of an ancient Taoist scripture, the ritual required the meat of 5 animals. But that was too expensive, so he decided to use the blood of 5 animals instead. That probably wouldn't be a problem. After all, in ancient times, many sacrificial ceremonies used blood offerings. He was also careful to obey the imperial court's decree. Oxen were not to be touched. The court had a clear regulation. Killing an ox would result in 100 lashes a year and a half in prison and exile for 1,000 M. So Lewin recalled other animals, including deer, elk, wolf, and rabbit. He decided to use a rabbit in place of the ox, as long as it still corresponded with the 5 elements. After half a day of relentless searching, he finally managed to get pig's blood and goat's blood, chicken's blood and rabbit's blood, half a caddy of each. After deducting 26 coins for the ingredients, he was left with a meager 4 coins. Luan walked step by step down the street, sighing wearily. Why is blood so expensive? If this doesn't work, I'll be starting next month. He walked to a small, dark alley. Based on the original owner's memories, he just needed to go inside to get home. Just as Leon knocked twice, a loud voice called out from outside. "Third brother, you're back." A cheerful man came over and pulled him inside by the arm. Luian was a little surprised and blurted out, "Second brother," while Lam pulled him through the gate he was opening. "Come on, let's talk inside." He bent over slightly, rolled up his sleeves, and asked caringly, "Have you eaten yet? Go rest in your room first. I'll make you something to eat. Your sister-in-law is out working. She won't be back for a little while." Layan watched Lam's retreating figure. He was secretly relieved that his brother didn't pull him aside to reminisce about old times. Now alone in the small courtyard, Lewin looked around to assess the situation. This is the place. After making sure no one was around, he began to pour the tubes of animal blood onto the ground in a predetermined pattern, muttering, for directions, 5 beasts. After a moment, a complete yin-yang formation drawn in blood was at his feet. He had recently memorized the structure of the formation countless times, so drawing it was quite easy. Can't delay any longer. Let's do this now. Lu Yin solemnly clasped his hands and began to pray. The disciple Lu Yin, after reading the Thongba Kin and thoroughly understanding how to enlighten the minds of all realms with the aspiration to save the people and help the world, vowing to spread the classics like the sages of old, he chanted with utmost sincerity. The disciple Lu Yin beseeches the heavens to bestow a talisman. But no matter how many times he repeated it, and nothing changed. Lao Yin was so tired that his face was covered in sweat with droplets rolling down. It's not working. Could it be that the ancestral masters know I haven't fully understood the Thongbakin? Or maybe he had expected this all along, so it wasn't much of a surprise. As I thought, there's no such thing as receiving a talisman and ascending to in his mind. Lion was completely crushed. My money. Suddenly, a strange, ear-piercing sound rang out, enveloping the entire space around him. The sound was so loud and dizzying that Lewin felt he couldn't bear it. He was forced to his knees. From within the hazy mist behind him, he could feel a pair of blood-red eyes staring intently at him, filled with danger and death. Lewin hugged his arms tightly and mumbled in pain, "I can't hear clearly. I really can't hear." Surrounding him now were floating magical chains, and behind him, a pitch-black shadow was closing in. Luan looked like his soul had been drained. His eyes rolled back white. His entire body was enveloped by an invisible pressure, unable to move or resist. Soon after, he could no longer take it and collapsed to the ground, completely losing consciousness. It wasn't until a faint hazy light startled him that Luan slowly opened his eyes again. The sound of crashing waves echoed in his ears as ethereal waves surged before his eyes. Luan was lifted into the air by those waves. Suddenly, darkness enveloped his surroundings. He tilted his head to look, and his pupils instantly constricted in utter shock. The waves from before had transformed into an ancient calligraphy scroll. Luan quickly recognized it as the talisman he had been desperately seeking. Countless streaks of black ink hovered and flew towards him. They surrounded him as he floated in midair. Simultaneously, they rushed towards Luan as if trying to invade deep into his body. But the very next second, Luan suddenly fell into an endless black pit. Bottomless in the middle of the blood-splattered yin-yang formation. His body seemed to have every joint broken, almost completely twisted into an unrecognizable shape. A transparent system panel unexpectedly appeared before his eyes, displaying the words, "First Talisman Bestow, in progress." The scene abruptly shifted to the courtyard of Lam's home. A terrifyingly silent atmosphere fell as he realized Lin was lying motionless on the ground without a single sign of life. An overwhelming fear washed over him, causing the chopsticks in Lam's hand to clatter to the stone floor. Overcome with panic, he rushed forward, his heart pounding in his chest. He hurriedly lifted Lu Yin and shook him, calling out in a trembling voice, "Third brother. Third brother, what's wrong with you? Wake up." At the same time, Lam's wife also ran out in a panic, her eyes filled with worry. What's wrong with third brother? Just as the two of them were plunged into absolute bewilderment, Luan slowly opened his eyes. Seeing the worried expressions on his brother and sister-in-law's faces, he immediately reassured them. "Brother, your little brother's fine." The confirmation that Luan was still safe made Lam breathe a sigh of relief. A weight had just been lifted. As long as he's okay, that's what matters. You scare me to death. Suddenly, a thought flashed through Luan and LT, Unk and GT's mind. He quickly announced his decision. "I need to go back to the forge." Seeing how exhausted he looked, Lam advised him in a concerned tone, "Go home and rest for a few days. You must be exhausted." But Luyan remained firm. "I'm fine." And just then, a sudden notification from the system appeared before his eyes, capturing all his attention. What is this? On the screen, unfamiliar lines of information appeared. First enchantment, Weapon Master 6, Rank 1. Weapon Master Luan, wielded weapons 1. This sight startled him, his eyes widening in surprise. The ancestor system, it really is ahead of its time. In the moment Luan was still trying to process it, he was transported to another vast space. Countless pieces of information suddenly flooded his mind like knowledge that had been deeply embedded in his subconscious for a long time. An unprecedented intense urge suddenly arose, compelling him to swing a saber to wield sword. The system continued to display a notification. Rank 1, Weapon Master, offering 1,000 caddies, 100 taels of silver iron, 1 tael of gold, and you can ascend to Rank 2 Weapon Master. This made Lu Yin ponder thoughtfully. All right, the ancestor sure knows how to make a profit, huh? Can't waste any more time. He quickly walked out. You two, just carry on with your work. I'll be back in a few days. Although he still felt incredibly tired, he told himself, I've got to make some money. Lam continued to watch him with a perpetually worried gaze. Are you really okay? But Lu Yin seemed unconcerned with his own physical condition as he continued to stride outside. It's nothing, really. A few days ago, Gartan taught me a new technique, so I might have overdone it with the practice. No need to see me out. I'm fine now. In his mind, a plan had already formed. Before I spend any money, I have to see what the ancestor's hack can actually do. The scene quickly shifted to the central courtyard. Looking at the iron hammers lying silently on the ground, Li Wyan couldn't help but be surprised, thinking to himself, an iron hammer is still iron. Right from behind, a clamor arose, drawing his attention. He noticed all the students were gathering there. Lei guessed that another class was about to begin. At that very moment, Tan Hung stood at the front, loudly and clearly reciting each word of the lesson. The white ape's ceiling peak stance has only 2 parts, inner and outer. The inner is the core, the outer is the form. The inner has 3 harmonies, and the outer has 3 harmonies. If all 6 harmonies, both inner and outer, are connected, that is grand mastery. His movements were incredibly swift. He could move nimbly from one side to the other with just a single touch from him, and Gue cried out in pain. Witnessing the boy's weakness, Tan Hung lectured sternly, if your stance is unstable, your strikes will be weak. With that, he continued to correct various stances for the student. The white ape's ceiling peak stance is the fundamental martial art that has been passed down in our forge for over 200 years. The technique is divided into 4 levels: Initiate, Proficient, Minor Mastery, and Grand Mastery. If you want to enter the inner court, you must master this martial art to the Initiate level before the end of the year. Although Inukui looked like he was about to cry from the pain, Luian, witnessing this scene, also had a shudder. Man, that looks painful. Tan Hung and LT, Unk and GT's powerful voice continued to echo. Raise your hammers and hold your stance. Unfortunately, at that moment, Lawan accidentally bumped into another student. Suddenly, a system notification appeared right before his eyes. Practice Hammer 8 Caddies not yet initiated. This is the practice weapon of the martial apprentices for practicing the White Ape's ceiling peak stance at the forge. It is soaked in the blood and tears of hundreds of apprentices. Mastery of wielding required none. After mastering the weapon, it will disappear. Following the system's guidance, a satisfied smile finally appeared on the corner of Luwen's mouth. No wonder the old man was so obsessed with enchanting. I haven't even really held a weapon yet, and I can already feel the difference. He calmed himself. Easy now. With this many people around, one missing hammer won't be a big deal, right? But on the other side, Tan Hung continued to demonstrate his masterful skill for the students to admire. Power originates from the ground, rooted in the feet, channeled through the waist, passes through the shoulders and arms, and forms in the wrist. The White Ape's arm. White Ape. It's just like the Shinji Quan from my previous world. After finishing his demonstration, he strictly admonished them. Holding a stance seems simple, but reaching the initiate level is very difficult. Remember what you learned today. It will be enough for you. Some people have good aptitude, but it's a pity their foundation is too weak, so they can't practice it. At the same time, Fatty, with a fawning and despicable expression, walked over holding a cup of tea. Brother Tan, who are you saying has good aptitude? Tan Hung just replied coldly. A few of the kids who've fallen on hard times. Hearing this, Fatty cheerfully offered, Brother Tan, let me see you out. Then he turned and relentlessly bellowed at the students below. You all train hard for me. Don't you dare be lazy. If you dare slack off, I won't be so polite. Only when he saw Tan Hung nod in satisfaction did a goofy smile spread across Fatty's face. Witnessing Fatty's recent actions, Lion couldn't help but feel contempt, thinking to himself, there's something wrong with the way that old Fatty looks at things. A long time passed. Luin was exhausted to his limits. He thought to himself, I can't stand anymore. After a long day of practice, he and the other students were all unsteady on their feet. It seemed simple, but it consumed an incredible amount of stamina. This small body of mine, its foundation is still too weak. Lean stood there. He tried to stretch and sighed as he watched the other trainees whose stances were still better and for the most part still holding up in the central courtyard. Only that guy Nguye was left at the same time on the other side. And Nguye also secretly glanced over at Luin. That punk has run out of steam too. In the end, he became even more smug as he looked at himself in the central courtyard. I'm still number 1. Time gradually passed into the dead of night. Juan entered the storeroom. He looked at the iron hammers and pondered. There are dozens of hammers. If one goes missing, probably no one will notice, right? The system's gray notification means it's ungraded. Isn't that right? His face became extremely pensive. He secretly selected from the various weapons stored here. All 43 training hammers are low-grade weapons, but there are still differences between them. Most training hammers after being used are only beginner grade. Only about 10 of them have an enchantment that makes them proficient grade. But it seemed he truly cherished the weapon in his hand. This one is the darkest. Even though they're all proficient grade, this might just be the best one of the lot. This is the one. After choosing his weapon, Lu Yin rushed outside. He held the hammer through it straight ahead and spoke, palm control. Seeing the golden light emitting from the hammer, his face immediately turned dumbfounded. That huge hammer just vanished into thin air. When Lion opened his eyes again, he was in a vast, wide, open space. This platform is way too small. At most, it can only fit a few things. Without any hesitation, he quickly raised the hammer forward. This place seemed to have changed distinctly because of his previous action. Suddenly, a sharp headache hit him. It startled Lean. Not again. The scene shifted deep into his mind. Different sounds echoed train, 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 fail. So you can do it like this, too. He calmly looked at the moves that were clearly displayed in his mind. Lower stance, coccyx's arms, ears, eyes. So this technique has this many details. Some time passed until the next morning. The rooster's crow rang out, breaking the darkness. Guay wearily got up, opened the door, and stepped outside. I overdid it with training yesterday. Even though I slept all night, my back hurts even more. Seeing Luin suddenly appear in this place, he became extremely confused. Guay's expression changed. He immediately shouted, "When did you wake up, huh? This punk, don't tell me he snuck out here in the middle of the night to train." Seeing his harsh reaction, Luan laughed and explained clearly. I just woke up. Gue quickly moved closer to Loi and questioning him further. Just woke up, huh? The more he thought, the more it felt wrong. This kid is full of energy. He doesn't look like someone who stayed up all night training. I knew it. This skinny monkey wouldn't dare to train in secret. Luan stood right beside him, flashing a bright smile and nodding in agreement, trying to sound me out. In your dreams. Time passed quickly, and the sky turned to midday. The warm sunlight shone down everywhere. Lu Yin and the others were still working diligently, but as usual, he quickly stacked the firewood in the warehouse and then continued his daily work. Although he had exhausted his energy all night, controlling his internal power was no longer as difficult as before. Feeling the stability in his body, Luan continuously flexed his wrist. A clear flow of power circulated, exciting him. His eyes shone with hope as he noticed his body gradually improving. This is true martial arts. I need to get into the inner courtyard quickly. That's the real place for cultivation. Just then, Dio walked over, his voice echoing, Today, we will learn the flying wind hammer. Everyone, pick up your hammers, get into a horse stance, and hold them for 2 hours. A sigh was heard. Horse stance again? I haven't even eaten my fill. Despite their exhaustion, everyone had to nod in agreement. Yes, sir. Lu Yan slowly picked up the iron hammer. His face lit up as he looked at this weapon. It's just a normal iron hammer. But why? Do I feel like I have a blood connection to it? This feeling is amazing. Dillo continued his instruction. The principles of the stance technique combined with hard work. Yo, do you all think I have nothing better to do? While he was engrossed in his lecture, Inukui suddenly asked, Brother Lo, how long does it take to reach the beginner level for this technique? Dillo patiently explained. For someone with average aptitude, if you train hard for over half a year, you can reach the beginner level. The person who reached the beginner level a few years ago was personally taught by Master Tan. The flying wind has only 18 forms. Today, I will teach you the first form. Gue, you come here, you'll be the first. Lean listened from a distance, understanding everything. So that's how it is. Dillo continued to instruct Nguki. The force generates from the ground, travels through your legs, passes your waist, and goes to your wrist. Remember, the power should be like an endless wind. Gue nodded in understanding. I'll remember. The people around them started whispering. Has that little Inu already reached the beginner level? After a moment of thought, Luian raised his hammer high. Let me give it a try. As he brought it down, a strong gust of wind blew past, making everyone freeze. Dillo and Inu turned around in shock. The scene changes to a large grand hall. Fatty's voice rang out. Come on, Brother Tan. Drink up. Tan Hung shook his head, refusing. No more. I'm going to go watch those little brats train. Fatty nodded in agreement. Yes. He then asked, Oh right, Brother Tan. I heard. Next year, we're opening a new shop in Jaelong Manor. The treasurer will be permanently stationed in the city from now on. Right? Qin Xiang said annoyed. Who told you that? Fatty gave a faint smile and said, Just a rumor. As long as Kulong is alive, how would Treasurer Tao dare to leave Gao City for so long? That man is a powerful outsider from the Divine Weapon Valley. He looked at Qin Xiang with a cold gaze. Senior Brother Qin is right. It's just a rumor. If there are any changes in the shop, Brother Qin, don't forget your little brother. Okay. Qin Xiang nodded in agreement. His eyes grew serious as he looked outside. That kid, Fatty asked. What's wrong? Qin Zhang said. Leland's younger brother, Fatty, scratched his head and confirmed. That's right, Shinong remarked. He can already execute 3 forms. Though his power is still lacking, his movements are as fluid as flowing water and drifting clouds. He's just started learning the art, yet he's more graceful than I was back then. This kid's talent is much higher than Nayaga's. He'll be a great blacksmith in the future. Fatai became confused, pondered for a moment, then looked towards Liu Yuan. Did this kid get on Qin Shong's bad side? Time skipped to the evening. Li Yuan sat in his room, looking at the awls on the table, when he suddenly noticed an old, worn-out saber underneath. It's so dark I forgot about this firewood saber. Picking up the saber, he examined it closely. Lowest of the low grade, completely unranked. The system notification appeared. Broken mouth firewood saber, unranked. No usage requirements, no effects. Basic firewood saber technique. His stomach rumbled. Li Yuan muttered to himself. Hungry again? All I do all day is work and train. This small body really can't take it without some meat and oil. I need to make some money. Time to go out and get some meat. The money my 2 big brothers gave me for food won't last long. I need to figure out a way to earn some cash. Unable to sit still, Li Yuan decided to go to the market to find something to eat. After buying his things, the vendor handed him the bag. Li's attention was drawn to the knife stuck in the side of the hired hand. Can I see your meat cleaver? The vendor quickly handed him the knife to inspect. The system displayed the information. Butcher's meat cleaver unranked. The bone chopping knife that a butcher has used for many years to cut meat. It has been severely worn down. Effect: basic cleaver arts. Usage condition: none. Basic cleaver arts. A look of anticipation flashed in Leon's eyes. Can you sell me this cleaver? The butcher asked in surprise. You want it? Leon nodded firmly. 1 coin. On the way back, Leon casually swung the knife. Alarming the people around him, he thought to himself, well, I guess this counts as another weapon. Stepping into the mystical space, Lai Yuan stared at the knife before him with indescribable. The bone-slicing cleaver has replaced the training technique and has been placed into the palm of arm 6. However, a strange sensation crept into his heart, making him wonder, why do I feel like someone is stripping me bare? Without thinking further, he quickly grabbed the knife and rushed forward. Luckily, I still remember the chasing technique and the stance arts, but my proficiency in the chasing technique is gone. The feeling of having tempered it for 15 hours was gone. In its place was the familiar feeling of using a meat cleaver for years. Thinking of this, he sighed wearily. It seemed that changing weapons doesn't affect me too much, but I can't just change them whenever I want. It takes 2 days to be able to switch weapons once. With so many things to worry about, Lai Yuan felt helpless. He grabbed his head and cried out. Although the pedestal of palm of arms 6 can still hold a few weapons, if he wants to control more, he needs to upgrade to palm of arms 6. The upgrade conditions are too harsh, and I, a Taoist, am too poor. After being reincarnated, time gradually turned to late night. At this moment, Fatai was still relaxing in the hot tub. Noticing Li Yuan was still outside, he called out loudly, "Come over here and add more hot water for me." Although he didn't wanna, Li Yuan could only nod and agree. "Yes, sir." After adding the hot water, Fatai smiled and praised. "I heard your finger technique isn't bad. What a pity. Such a pity." Hearing this, Li Yuan became curious. "Chef's son, what's a pity?" Fatty took a long breath and explained, "There's something I just found out. That Chin Xiang guy is good at martial arts, and he enjoys his wine and meat, but what he's best at is women." Hearing this, Lai Yuan seemed to understand something. "He's telling me this means Fatty's voice became full of insinuation. I heard he's keeping a girl with the surname Neo in the Chao district. She has a slender figure and is very beautiful." But Lai Yuan's face was full of suspicion. "Surname Neo. The more I think about it, the more it feels wrong. Is she related to Nugui?" While he was still pondering, Fatty leaned back and sighed. "My damn forge has a renowned 200-year-old process for cultivating apprentices, but logically it shouldn't be Qin Shong who's teaching you all martial arts." Lai Yuan nodded, in understanding, picking up the bucket of hot water. "So that's how it is." Fatty's voice came from inside the room. This time, each department only has one spot for the inner courtyard. Sun Yugi entered the middle courtyard over a month ago. "Do you understand now?" Leon had somewhat grasped what he was saying. "Thank you for your guidance, elder son." Seeing him so obedient, he burst out laughing and shared more of his experience. "Aren't you disappointed? You clearly had the most outstanding performance yet. You didn't get into the inner courtyard. Don't you feel any resentment in your heart?" Li Yuan replied, "I'm a little disappointed, but not much. As for resentment, this opportunity was never mine to begin with. So why should I be resentful? At least I learned some martial arts. It's also been somewhat interesting. But you're still wrong. Although the white ape's wind-riding finger technique isn't the best martial art in the forge, how could I have easily passed it on to you guys?" These words made him freeze for a moment. "Not pass it on." Fatty sighed and continued. "The techniques, of course, were all passed on, but just the stance arts alone. Even with the highest grade root bone, it would take at least 3 years to master the basics." But while Li Yuan was distracted, Fatty quickly turned and splashed hot water on him. He hurriedly wiped the water from his face, still not understanding what had happened when Fatty gently placed a hand on his shoulder. "Your root bone is of the medium-low type. His yang energy is a bit weak." Understanding his meaning, Juan bowed his head. "Esteemed elder, this disciple wishes to learn your cooking skills." Inside, he was incredibly surprised, never expecting this fat man to be so skilled in martial arts. To think he's skilled enough to be the head chef at the forge. Truly unbelievable. Seeing his obedience, Fatty burst out laughing and added, "You kid, you really know how to aim high. Figure that meals are hard to come by in the central courtyard. So you want to get a little something from my place, huh?" Lean's eyes lit up and he admitted openly, "You are absolutely right, sir. I know how to cook and my blade skills are quite good. Please take me in." This made the fat man find the situation more and more interesting. "For real, or are you just faking it?" Lion nodded firmly to demonstrate for Fatty. Lewin took a meat cleaver, went to the garden, and pulled up a handful of scallions. His movements were swift, showcasing his practiced skill. Fatty watched in admiration. "Not bad, kid. How many years have you been practicing your blade skills?" Luian answered sheepishly. reporting to the elder. I've been practicing for a few years, though he was silently thinking. In my past life, I serve an old man, so blade work and cooking were never an issue for me. Now, with the addition of a butcher's bone chopping skills, my techniques are even more proficient. After his demonstration, Win bowed his head. This disciple only asked for food. For everything else, I await the elder's command. Finding him amusing, the man chuckled with satisfaction. Suddenly, he picked up the mace from the corner of the room. He looked at him and said cryptically, "You haven't wasted the silver from your two brothers, and you've put in the effort yourself. Fine, I do happen to need an assistant." Luyan was still confused. Two brothers? My brothers gave this fatty money. Well, if I hadn't taken the initiative, I bet that money would have been completely wasted. Fatty turned, walked away, and tossed the mace to him. Catch this. Raise it and get into a horse stance. Those 18 mace techniques you learned aren't fake. You're just missing a few things. Today, I'll teach you the white ape breathing method. I'll demonstrate it for you. Hearing this, Luan's eyes lit up. He eagerly ran after him, saying, "Thank you, elder." Several months passed. The weather grew colder. The scene shifts to a bustling city street. Luyan walked along the road, carrying a bag. It was clear he had improved a great deal over time. Ever since Fatty Tun taught me the white ape breathing method, not only has the food gotten better, but I've also managed to maintain the breathing technique while holding the hammer in a horse stance. At this rate, I should master the basics in just a few more days. It was all going according to his plan. Because he had accidentally revealed his knack for calculations earlier, all of the purchasing for the central courtyard had fallen to him. On his way back, Luan suddenly noticed an item. Hey, there's even a shoe here. A single shoe sat on the table. He was confused. "Boss, you can actually sell a single torn shoe like this." The owner sighed and explained. It belonged to Baldy Lu from the back street. I don't know where he found it, but he was dead set on selling it to me. And there's only one. You tell me what kind of nonsense is that? Leowen picked up the shoe to examine it. Let me have a look. Looking at the information displayed on the system, he was stunned. A tier 1 since I started in the kitchen. I've been out 7 or 8 times visiting places like the Prosperous District and the Fish Market. I found plenty of unranked weapons, but this is the first time I've ever seen a tiered item. Seeing his interest in the shoe, the seller's face lit up. It's a good shoe, but there's only one, and it's torn up like this. Only that dog, Baldy Lu, would have the nerve to ask for a silver coin for it. If you want it, you can take it for 1 silver coin. Luai sighed and tossed the shoe aside. 1 silver coin for a single shoe. Isn't that a bit steep? Seeing this, the seller quickly lowered the price. 1 silver coin is for anyone else, but for you, Brother Lafori, cash will do. Of course, he still feigned disinterest and began to walk away. At that price, you might as well keep it for yourself. The customer started to leave. The man quickly called out, Wait, we can negotiate. After a moment of thought, Luyan looked around and said, "How about this? Master Tun sent me to buy some spices. I was originally planning to head to the Prosperous District, but the spices at your stall seemed decent enough." The seller proposed, "Brother Lee, you have a keen eye? The spices in my stall are top grade. How about this? You buy your spices for me, and I'll throw in the shoe for free." With a reluctant expression, Luyan replied, "Fine, I guess." But inwardly, he was indescribably overjoyed. Sometime later, snow had covered the rooftops. Luyan held the newly acquired shoe and hurried onward. He lifted it up, his eyes sparkling with joy, and quickly used his familiar skill. He activated his skill, admiring the item he'd collected. He couldn't hide his excitement. "My first tier 1 item today's trip was an incredible success. This shoe seems really powerful, but there's only one. I wonder what effect that will have." He decided to test it right then and there. Feeling his speed increase, Luyan stopped for a moment. "Never mind. I'll test it properly when I get home. For now, time to fly." His eyes shone. He realized this was a true treasure. Tier 1 is on a whole other level. This won't do. I have to level up immediately. A rank 6. First tier armament master can only control 1 weapon at a time. To switch, I have to wait 2 days. I need to advance my tier. I need to make money. But to level up, I need 1,000 caddies of fine iron, 100 taels of white silver, and 100 G of gold. Even if I became a robber, I could never get that much money. Just then, a shout came from up ahead. "Tuya is here." Lu Yan's interest was piqued. Driven by curiosity, he hurried forward. Don't tell me Tuit Atui caught another spirit fish. When he arrived, he saw a crowd of villagers surrounding Atui, buzzing with excitement. I heard Tu Atui's parents died when he was young, but he somehow managed to master an incredible skill. Master level fishing. After catching 3 spirit fish in a row, he didn't just repair his house, and he was even accepted into the Lihop Martial Arts Hall, one of the 3 most famous martial arts halls in the inner city. He slowly approached to observe the situation. Looking at the man before him, he smiled and offered a red-browed spirit fish. My luck isn't bad. How much for this fish? I'll buy them all. Lean, standing nearby, sighed. A spirit fish. We can never afford that. Only wealthy people like Chin Shong could afford such a luxury. It's a shame I don't have a specialized weapon for catching fish. I guess I'll have to pass. He looked up ahead and thought to himself, it's still early. I'll head home for a bit. The snow was falling thicker and thicker. Lean was still diligently shoveling snow when he saw Lu Yin and LT, Unk and GT, as familiar figure appear. He called out joyfully, "On, you're back." Lewin presented the food he had just bought and announced, "Brother, I picked up these 2 carp on the way and got them for you." Lamb praised him happily. "You've done well, kid. Your strength. You look healthier and sturdier than before. Let me cook these 2 carp for you. Perfect timing. Your sister-in-law bought 2 caddies of fatty meat yesterday." Lewin smiled and replied, "I've already eaten. How could a kitchen helper go hungry?" He seriously instructed, "The snow came early this year. The winter clothes are newly made. I left them right by your bed. Try them on to see if they fit." "Okay," Lion asked in surprise. "Brother, where did you get the money to make winter clothes?" He silently calculated. A set of clothes like this wasn't cheap. Even with the worst fabric plus cotton padding, the cost would be over a tael of silver enough to feed an ordinary family for half a year. The lamb quickly explained, "The price of charcoal was pretty good before winter, so aren't a good bit these last few months. Add in your sister-in-law's wages, and sewing a padded coat for you is nothing to worry about." Lon shook his head. "I can't take this coat. The Gen Workshop will issue a padded coat after winter arrives. You should alter this one for sister-in-law to wear. She works so hard washing clothes for other families." Lamb didn't listen and still draped the coat over Luen's shoulders. "Since when do apprentices get issued clothes? It's for you, so just wear it." Lamb ruffled his hair. "Such a kid. You get a little taller every month. Good thing your sister-in-law made it 1 size bigger for you. Otherwise, it would be 2 these actions made Luan fall silent. Suddenly he asked, "Brother, tell me the truth. Did you borrow money from someone?" Lamb turned back in surprise. "Who told you, is it, fatty?" He sighed. "I borrowed it from Chi and Bao on the street. Borrow 9, return 13. A normal interest rate. Besides," he said, "I can pay it back before next winter. Our family may be poor, but we've managed to save a little something for you." Lean sighed helplessly. "Brother, you didn't have to go and borrow money for my sake." Seeing Lamb's wife appear, he started. "Sister-in-law." She nodded, understanding. It was freezing. Lamb's wife shivered, rubbing her hands together for a little warmth. As she warmed them, she reminded him, "Since you're here, then take the cotton coat with you. It'll save your brother from making another trip, and who knows what kind of bad luck he might run into." Lewin was moved. "Thank you, sister-in-law," he said, though his heart ached a little. "Your hands are frozen solid, sister-in-law." The lamb quickly poured hot water into a basin. "I and LT, Unk and GT. LL, pour some hot water into the pan so you can soak your hands." She nodded in agreement. Realizing he couldn't stay any longer, Lu Yin turned to leave. "Sister-in-law, I've already eaten lunch today. I'll be going now. Have my brother cook those 2 carp for you, sister-in-law." Lamb was confused. "At least stay and eat before you go." Seeing he was already gone, he sighed. "That little brat. He sure runs fast." Outside, the snow fell even thicker. Lewin walked through the street, his mind lost in a sea of thoughts. He thought about Qian Bao, a minor leader in the fisherman's gang who lived on the next street over. The phrase "borrow 9, return 13" still echoed in his memory. But could that really be considered fair? His brother, though simple and kind, was no ordinary man. He had survived the fall of their clan and the disappearance of their eldest brother, shouldering the responsibility of raising him all by himself. Luyan had grown up, but his brother surely couldn't repay that kind of money. Luyan wondered if among that crowd of loan sharks, there could possibly be a good person. He just hoped everything would be all right. Speaking of which, I could borrow money from the loan sharks and quickly level up to a 6th rank squad leader. Why didn't I think of such a reliable method sooner? He looked at his clenched palm. First, I have to master the entry level of the white A-pale finger technique. Then I'll be able to earn more money. Time passed slowly. The night grew late with the moon shining brightly overhead. Amidst the cold of the night, Luyan was still training diligently. Fatty Sun taught me the white ape breathing method from a book, completely replacing my old way of breathing. The white ape gale finger has reached mastery, but Fatty Sun's breathing method still exhausts me. He looked at the system notification and decided to switch from the 6 harmonies shoes to the thread training technique. After pulling out a large needle, Lewin held it high in front of him. The hours of tireless practice had made him stronger, but they had also unintentionally disturbed Fatty's sleep. He walked out irritably, grumbling, "What's all that noise? It's the middle of the night. Are you trying to keep people from sleeping or what?" But when he saw the scene before him, Fatty froze. Lewin stood in the middle of the courtyard, still lost in thought. My senses have become incredibly sharp. I can even hear the blood flowing through my veins. A look of shock mixed with disbelief crossed his face. I did it. Finally, a smile he hadn't worn in a long time appeared on his face. The book says that when your blood energy has developed to the point where it can fortify your palms, you've reached the level of proficiency. When it's infused into one arm, that's initial mastery. But when you reach full mastery, it flows through all four limbs. The flow of Mikey and blood, it feels incredible. Now, I really want to find someone to test it on. This is what true martial arts feel like. At that moment, Fatai suddenly suggested, "You and my boy come to my room for a late-night snack." His words made Lewin jump and turn back to his superior, but Fatai kept urging him on. "What are you standing there for?" Lewin felt that something was not right. "Yeah, my boy. Did I hear him right?" After they entered the room, Fatty quickly poured some wine and said, "Now that you've achieved the first stage of chi and blood, you must have a drink of this wine of mine." Luan looked at the 8 cups of wine before him, his heart full of suspicion. "Sir, this is," Fatty said decisively. "Just drink." After Luan finished drinking, Fatty's eyes were filled with anticipation. Your innate talent is only average at best. And yet, it didn't take you long to reach the entry level. Besides the training manuals, I bet your 2 brothers gave you plenty of supplements, didn't they? Lewin nodded. "My brothers are very good to me." Although he was still thinking to himself, if I hadn't revealed my talent for the hammer technique from the start, this sudden entry-level mastery would definitely make this old Fatty suspicious. Fatty continued to praise him. Such enviable brotherly love. It wasn't a waste for your 2 brothers to spend all that money. To be honest, that spot to enter the inner court from the middle court should have been yours. The more Lewin listened, the more confused he became. Wasn't that spot already reserved for Naogi? Fatty looked at him in surprise. "You mean you don't want to enter the inner court? Are you afraid of offending Qin Xiang?" Luan sighed and quickly replied, "How would I dare to offend Master Chun?" He knew very well that Qin Xiang was not someone to be trifled with. Qin Zhang had achieved full mastery of the Flying Phoenix hammers several years ago. He was a man of terrifying internal energy, not someone a normal guard could compare to. I heard the workshop has already decided he will be the head of the guards, a position second only to the 3 shopkeepers. All he needs now is to break through to the next level of his internal force. While Lewin was lost in thought, Fat Tai continued. "So what if you offend him? Our forge has been around for over 200 years. Of course, we have our rules. Even if he becomes the head guard, he can't just do whatever he wants." His sudden change in attitude left Lewin speechless. He muttered to himself, "Weren't you the one who was rushing to suck up to Qin Xiang before?" While Luan was still thinking, the man's eyes glanced at him again as if he were sizing him up. "You're a literate man, so you should understand. Some things, even if they're meant to be yours, will never be in your hands if you don't fight for them. They say literature is for the poor and martial arts for the rich. With your background, who do you have to support you? Even if you reach the entry level, how far do you think you can go?" "You're right, sir," Lewin said, a bit flustered. As if understanding his mood, Fat Tai continued to pour wine into his cup. "Whether you fight for it or not is up to you. I just see a bit of talent in you, so I'm just speaking my mind. If you don't want to, that's fine too." Lewin understood his meaning. He was trying to give him a reminder. "Yes. Thank you for your guidance." Time passed. A few hours later, Fatty was fast asleep, oblivious to the bone, chilling cold. Lewin slowly opened the door and stepped outside. After drinking a few more cups of wine, he had decided to step out. "I've reached the entry level today. I've reached it. After drinking the medicinal wine, I have to strike while the iron is hot." His spirits high, he continued his training tonight. Holding the hammer in his hands, he focused intently as a stream of chi and blood circulated throughout his body. It felt like soaking in warm water, bringing an unusual sense of relaxation to his body. He even supplemented his health by taking a nap. After a few hours, he woke up naturally. He was full of vigor with no sense of fatigue, and his mind was crystal clear. Lewin had practiced diligently according to the book. The sign of proficiency was stacking 8 hammers, but he had already reached 11. The next morning, Nui opened his door and saw Lewin training intensely. He couldn't help but be surprised. "Lewin is up this early again. He tricked me before by saying he wasn't training, but in reality, he practices every single day. That little brat is so deceitful. I can't take it anymore," Nugi shouted. "Lewin." While Lewin was still confused, the other boy walked up and offered, "I want to spar with you." Although Nui wondered why he felt so nervous, Lewin couldn't be not interested. This enraged Nugi. Just then, Fatty called out, "Someone's here to see you." Lewin slowly walked over. From behind, Naogi sneered. "So he refuses me. He must be scared. That has to be it." Luan asked, "Fatty, are my brothers here again?" The old man shook his head. Not your brothers. It's the constables. You haven't done anything wrong, have you, kid? Lewin was confused. Constables. A man stepped forward and announced, My name is Kuda. I am here under orders to investigate a murder and have some questions for you. These words made Lewin freeze. A murder? He thought to himself. Could something have happened to my brothers? Kuda continued. Answer what I ask. You're not to hide anything. Reluctantly, Lewin nodded. Yes, sir. Kuda questioned him. Around noon the day before yesterday, when you went to the Chayu district to buy goods, there was a spice vendor named Lewin. Do you remember him? Lewin felt puzzled. Luzin, yes, but inwardly he was relieved. Thank goodness, it's not about my brothers. He quickly reported. Sir, I did indeed buy some spices from his stall that day. Kyoto was suspicious. Just spices. Lewin nodded. That's right, though his inner thoughts were different. Nonsense. The 6 Harmony shoes were a gift. I didn't buy them. If I tell the truth, what happened? Chuda's gaze was judgmental as he looked at Li Yuan. Is that so? Seeing the difficult situation, Fatai stepped forward to explain. I told him to go shopping. I have a record of everything he spent and all the prices. Even if he had the heart of a lion, he wouldn't be foolish enough to try and trick me. Hearing this, Choa turned to leave. All right, I'm done with my questions. You guys carry on. I'll go check one more house. As the two left, Lu Yin and Bona bowed and said, Take care, sir. Tan Hung watched the scene in surprise for Fatty Tun to actually speak up for Luan. After the two of them left, Bonu sighed. This guy is both stubborn and stinks. He's good at martial arts, but he's just a patrolman. But his grand uncle Ka Long is a powerful figure. I'm just telling you the truth. If you get mixed up in a murder case, it has nothing to do with me. Lu Yin was moved. Chief, this has absolutely nothing to do with me. Bona nodded. Good then. But in his heart, Leowen had his own plans. The Dan dynasty was founded on martial prowess, so its martial arts culture is extremely aggressive. As a result, the punishments are also incredibly harsh. When a murderer is caught, they aren't held until autumn of next year, but are executed immediately. Meanwhile, Beno was still muttering to himself. Luja's family of 6, along with 5 of his neighbors, were all killed, and the culprit was the same. I suspect the one who killed Lu is Su. But why would he also kill the street vendor? Hearing that number, he turned around startled. More than 10 people killed. Is this a serial murder case? But Su doesn't seem like the kind of person who could do something like that. Beno continued to recount what he knew. Aside from the usual gang fights, Gao County hadn't seen such a brutal massacre of civilians in years. You don't go out, so you don't know. But the inner city is under curfew. You shouldn't come to the shop for a while either. This goddamn animal must have gone insane. He even killed an unrelated vendor. Hearing this information, Lewin froze for a moment. Could it be because of the 6 Harmony boots sold that boot to the vendor? Could it really be such a coincidence? He tried to connect the dots, killing 10 people over a tattered boot. Is it worth it? This won't do. I have to find someone to send a message to my 2 brothers. I'm not coming home until the killer is caught. I also have to tell my 2 brothers and my 2 sisters-in-law to lock the doors and windows tightly. While Lewin was deep in thought, Banu suddenly spoke up. Hey, what are you still standing there for? Get to work. He hurriedly ran back towards Bonu. Over here on the other side, Cowett had also discovered something. That kid is hiding something. Hearing this, Tan Hung suggested, if you're suspicious, Brother Cow, why not just arrest him and take him to the county Yemen? Kodat sighed in response. Without evidence, we can't just arrest people indiscriminately. A person beside them hurriedly flattered him. Brother Chow, you are so righteous. By the way, are you heading to the Lop Martial Arts School next? Wang Lan is not an easy person to deal with, Kayat said as he walked. So what if it's the Lihop Martial Arts School? No matter how good Wang Lan is, how does he compare to my granduncle? The Dan dynasty was founded on martial prowess. If the imperial court couldn't suppress these law breakakers, the world would have fallen into chaos long ago. This information surprised the other man. Really? I heard Su is extremely talented. In less than half a year, he's already achieved minor mastery in the Lihop free fighting style. Wang Wan is apparently preparing to send him to Divine Weapon Valley. If you want to catch him, Brother Cow, you'd better get there early. Cow was taken aback. Divine Weapon Valley, huh? Behind them, Tan Hung chuckled. The Dan dynasty was founded on martial prowess. That's true enough, but there's another line that follows it. With that, he turned and went back to his post. They ruled the world alongside the martial sects. Meanwhile, the men from the Yam Men were still relentlessly searching for Su. He was thinking angrily, a tiger on the plains gets bullied by dogs. Looking at the man before him, Ashu grew even more furious. That bastard stripped my clothes and I could let that slide, but he even took my shoes. Unable to bear it any longer, he attacked directly. Although the man in front of him was beaten to a pulp, Ashu showed no mercy. Still, I can't kill you right now. If you die, then I'll have no more food. Cao Long Weng Luan Cao Zan Wu Zhen Lin Jing. his eyes filled with utter contempt. Wait until I've recovered. I'll make you all wish you were dead. Just then, the door slowly opened, catching Away's attention. He turned his head to look into the distance, growing angrier the more he thought. You dare take my things? Time passed into the dead of night. Lewin sat huddled in a corner, thinking quietly. This boot, could it be hiding some kind of secret? He looked at the boot in his hand. It didn't seem like there was anything special about it, but as he touched it, the sole came loose, startling him. When he pulled the sole open, Lu Yan and LT, Unk and GT's eyes widened in surprise when he saw something inside. He quickly brought the boot up to examine it. Binda Dosatu, it's a secret martial arts manual. After reading it carefully, Li Yuan realized the gravity of the situation. Did someone really hide a secret martial arts manual in the sole of a boot? The Way of the Soldier. Water-killing arts. Let me see. It's not one of those that requires self-castration, is it? A secret martial art from the Divine Weapon Valley ranked 18th on the Japlong Manor's list of supreme martial arts. He quickly memorized the information written on the sole. The supreme martial art White Ape's Flying Mantle. Is that considered only a mid-grade or low-grade art? So, it seems Legito's group was killed because of this 6 harmony boot. The more Lewin thought about it, the more he felt things were getting out of hand. The killer must know the boot is in my hands. He's probably already watching me. Damn it. Good luck and bad luck have both come knocking at my door. This is a high-stakes game right now. The system displayed the information before Lewin's eyes. After reading those lines, he couldn't help but get a headache. No way of the weapon, no killing arts. Only 1/3 remains. Although it's a bit of a shame this is just a single volume. At most, it's only half the pages and is nothing but striking techniques. Of the 72 paths, you must master at least one transmission art path to be considered initiated. But this particular transmission art path has 81 different. He sat tiredly in the corner of the room and sighed. Why is it a transmission art again? But then again, it is ranked first among the 5 great secret arts of Divine Weapon Valley. Even so, Lewin refused to give up. He stood up determined. I'm being watched. This Taoist has no other choice. I have to master it, even if it kills me. He recalled what he knew about this place. The curfew in Gallo County only lasts until 2 months before the new year. Whether the county magistrate Liu Yangqing wants it or not, he'll have to lift the curfew and switch to conducting searches in secret. Outside, the snow fell thicker and thicker. Ash held out his blood-stained hands, growing angrier the more he thought. He stood up and cursed. How can a small county like this have so many internal energy masters? How Divine Weapon Valley truly lives up to its name as the #1 sect. Trap Dragon 5 Jade Poison Blade Bamboo Blade Master VU Tran. He mumbled, memorizing the wounds on his body. This blade strike nearly killed me. I have to get out of here. Ashoy reached his hand toward the skeleton lying quietly in the corner of the house. He decisively took the clothes, leaving the skeleton there. Outside, the ceaseless explosion of fireworks made a sigh. In a small house, a man was complaining, the snow is too heavy. I really don't want to go out. A cold gust of wind blew past, making him shiver. He hugged himself tightly, thinking about having to wake up early in this weather. He felt exhausted. He never stops training, even when it's freezing cold. Truly admirable. Nyugi was still training relentlessly in the yard. After a while, he slowly put the mace on the ground. His eyes were full of anticipation. I am initiated. These words caused everyone around to start talking. Brother New, you've been initiated. Brother New is amazing. When will I ever get initiated? I'm so jealous. Praises were constantly heaped upon Nyugi. Nyugi will definitely enter the inner sect by then. Don't forget about us. Of course not. Nui is not someone that type of person can compare to. Despite the praise, he wasn't very happy. He's been living out here for over 2 months now. Don't tell me he's been initiated too. Probably not. Even if he's smart, my brother-in-law didn't teach him the breathing techniques. Besides, his family is poor. The snow fell thicker and thicker. Remembering something new reminded everyone. Get back to work, you guys. Master Sun is about to wake up. He thought to himself, I should associate less with these people in the future. They're definitely low class. They have nothing to do with me. Remembering the good news, Nuji slowly walked away. I have to report my initiation to my brother-in-law quickly. He unconsciously passed by Lewin's house and suddenly stopped. Lion's probably just doing chores, right? I'll go take a look. Out of curiosity, he quickly approached. The door wasn't shut tight. The sight before him made Nyogue freeze. The figure of a snowman holding a mace struck his eyes. Worried, Nyugi hurriedly pushed the door open and rushed in. No. Did Li Yuyan freeze to death? While he was still confused, a golden light suddenly appeared. Lewin and LT, Unk and GT's power had now become incredibly formidable. He was training nonstop. A A cold wind blew past, causing Nui to freeze for a moment. Thinking about Lewin and LT, Unk and GT's current strength, he couldn't believe it. What was going on? The person in front of him seemed to have completely transformed into a different Liu Yan. Sensing the time was right, Lewin raised the mace. The more Nui thought about it, the more suspicious he became. Has Lin already mastered the white ape's flying phoenix mace technique? Impossible. I can't let this be. He hurriedly dashed outside. I have to report this to my brother-in-law immediately. Meanwhile, Liu Yan was silently calculating. If I just practice with one mace, I'm afraid I won't be able to progress. But if I stack two of them, wouldn't I be just as good as someone at the minor success stage? Fatty burst out from the house and shouted, "You brat, you still owe me silver." Seeing the situation was not good, he quickly turned and said respectfully, "Elder, please allow this junior to borrow a little." Before he could finish, a cold voice snapped, "Get lost." Lewin looked at him with hopeful eyes and declared, "This junior swears to repay it in full." Seeing that he had taken the initiative to ask, Fatty smiled and decided, "If it weren't for your lightning-fast progress, I wouldn't lend you a single coin. Go on, how much is it this time?" His face showed clear anticipation as he held out his hand. "Tres centavos." After hearing that he was so angry, he was speechless. You really know how to ask for an inch and take a mile. Then he suddenly remembered something. Luian quickly picked up a cup of hot water and walked towards Fatty. "Oh right, Elder. Have you heard any news about the commotion in town these past few days? Rumor has it there was a big brawl." Fatty then recounted what he knew. The night before last, the head steward held a banquet for Wang Luan, the master of the Lihi martial arts hall. When the wine had taken effect, someone suddenly burst in from the shop and frantically attacked innkeeper Wang, nearly killing him. The head steward was furious, captured the assailant, and threw him into the great prison. Upon hearing this, Lewin was startled and asked, "The head steward has already caught the culprit?" Fatty nodded and added, "Luckily, the head steward acted in time, so innkeeper Wang is fine. But unfortunately, his disciple was seriously injured." As the two were talking, Qin Xiang walked in and ordered, "Liuan, follow me for a moment." "Yes," Liuan replied obediently. He immediately nodded in agreement. Observing Qin Xiang and LT, Unk and GT's demeanor, he thought to himself, Qin Xiang looks much more muscular than he did 3 months ago. It's in LT, Unk and GT, as if he's grown to be 2 m tall. After the two met in the private space, Qin Xiang spoke up. "Do you know why I called you here? You must have guessed already, haven't and LT, Unk and GT?" Liuan nodded. This disciple understands. Shinong praised him endlessly. "Your white ape-holding arm posture is perfect, and your chi and blood circulate throughout your entire body. Your innate talent is truly," Lewin quickly replied. "It is thanks to Master Qin's excellent teaching." This statement surprised Qin Xiang slightly. Excellent teaching. Although your aptitude isn't as good as Nei's, you are extremely well suited for the white ape's flying mantle hold. At this rate, the slot for the central courtyard is definitely yours. But I have promised someone else that this time, Nu Gue must be the one to enter the inner courtyard. Do you have any objections? Li Yuan quickly bowed his head. This disciple wouldn't dare. Qin Shong looked at him with a judgmental gaze. Wouldn't dare, but that doesn't mean you have no objections. After a moment of silence, he continued, "In the past, the entrance examination for the inner courtyard was held only once every 3 years, but now it has been changed to once a year. At your pace, you will surely be able to enter the central courtyard next year. Go." After hearing this, Li Yuan could only obey. Yes. Stepping outside, Li Yuan thought wearily. Next year, I have connections this year, but who knows what will happen next year. In another corner, Nugi said sadly, "Brother-in-law, I'll wait another year to enter the inner Li Yuan. He's stronger than me." Qin Zhang glanced at him. "Wait another year. You came to the central courtyard from the servants' courtyard in the front courtyard. And there's the rear courtyard. People are scrambling for spots in all the other courtyards. Do you know why? It's an LT, Unk and GT, because you must enter the inner courtyard this year. If you wait another year, it will be too late." Nugi still didn't quite understand. Qin Zhang continued to explain, "Next spring, the Divine Weapon Valley will open its immortal gate. The shop has spent a great deal of money to secure this opportunity. At the latest, by this time next year, the inner disciples will have to set out for Coiling Dragon Mansion. If you wait another year, the immortal gate of the Divine Weapon Valley will close." His face grew serious as he took an object from his robes. When the Divine Weapon Valley recruits disciples, the most important thing is aptitude. Lewin's aptitude is only mid to low tier. He wouldn't even pass the first hurdle. Your talent is mid to high tier, and you progress quickly. If you can join the Divine Weapon Valley, it will be the greatest opportunity of your life. After speaking, Chinong tossed the item he was holding to Nyogue. Noogie asked, trembling. The Divine Weapon Valley. Can I really get in? Kim Jong reminded him. Train diligently. Do not disappoint my expectations. Nu Gui hurriedly nodded. Yes, yes, yes. After leaving the house, Li Yuan walked along, muttering his thoughts. Perhaps Qin Xiang has had a breakthrough with his inner strength. If that's the case, he will surely become the next leader of the guard team. I wonder if Fatty Sun can handle that. Looking at the bag in his hand, he told himself, Fatty Sun has treated me well. I absolutely cannot let him down. I'll go for a walk around the city today and see if I can find any graded weapons. Seeing the contestants carrying all sorts of weapons, he couldn't help but marvel. No wonder the annual gala assembly attracts so many graded weapons. It's just a shame that none of them are mine. Suddenly, Lai Yuan noticed a vendor sitting by the roadside. He approached and asked, Old man, how much are you selling this sickle for? Looking closely at the item, he thought, the blade is over 30 centimeters long. It doesn't look like a farming tool at all. The vendor looked at the weapon in his own hands and shook his head. You want to buy this sickle? It's a memento of mine. It's been with me my whole life. I can't bear to sell it. A young boy standing beside him whispered, Grandpa, why keep such a tattered, old sickle? Curious, Luan reached his hand forward. Old man, may I hold it for a moment? The vendor nodded and handed him the sickle. Be careful. This sickle may be old, but it's still very sharp. As he held the sickle, Luan immediately realized it really is a graded weapon. The system displayed detailed information. Sickle 3 on Genesis Gene, superior dark, iron tempered through 18 flames. Its previous owner used it to drink the blood of enemies and harvest crops for 100 years. The sickle is worn, but it has developed a spiritual property requirement. Mastery of any stance training technique affect mastery of the horse, saving saber sickle art proficiency in long weapons. Lai Yuan's eyes lit up. This is so much better than the Six Harmonies shoes. Not only does it have the mastery level saber sickle art, but also while he was marveling, the system continued its notification proficiency in long weapons. The long-handled saber sickle is extremely difficult to learn. Even with talent, it is not easy. It was only through the original owner's effort and dedication that the spiritual property was born. Li Yuan couldn't hide his joy. I've struck it rich. He quickly made an offer. I want to buy this sickle. I'll pay 3 taels. The vendor was surprised. 3 taels? That's so much. Luan nodded. That's right. It caught my eye after buying the sickle. Li Yuan went into a small alley. He held up the sickle and said, use. Looking at the items he had collected, he calculated, I've already mastered the flying mantle finger, so just practicing the technique won't have a great effect anymore. This sickle is the perfect replacement. He raised the sickle high, and bolts of lightning struck the ground. The sight was an eye-opener for Li Yuan. However, when he returned to reality, he suddenly collapsed his nose, bleeding uncontrollably. Looking at the item, he thought, this thing is insane. I've really hit the jackpot. The 13 forms of the horse-saving scythe blade technique. To master from nothing is truly the absolute peak. Clenching his fist, Luan's eyes filled with determination. Flying Phoenix finger proficiency level, mastery level of the scythe blade technique, a part of the way of the weapon, plus proficiency with long weapons. I wonder if I could defeat Tun Hung. Inside the fatty's spacious home, endless arguing could be heard. I'm breaking my back, earning money to pay off your debts, and yet you go and borrow even more. Sooner or later, you two brothers are going to be thrown into Jadewater Lake to feed the turtles. I just don't understand why. Tin Bao is demanding payment right now, but it's clearly not due yet. Luan stepped outside a staff in his hand. After checking its hardness, he nodded. This will do. Not wasting any time, he continued his training. Tin Bao, Zai. So, this is what proficiency with long weapons feels like. If those thugs dare to make a move first, I won't hesitate to strike back. A triumphant smile finally appeared on the corner of Luan's mouth. After a moment of observation, he quickly climbed onto the roof of a large building and removed a tile to scout the situation below. Seeing that everything was clear, he slowly sat down to listen. Inside, 3 men were deep in drunken conversation. She's just old Chow Huang and LT, Unk and GT, S-woman. I don't get what the boss is thinking. If he wants her, he should just tie her up and have some fun. You think that coward lamb would dare report it to the authorities? You don't know the story. Before the boss struck it rich, his whole family were servants for the Li family. Back then, all he could do was watch her marry someone else. Enough of that. That woman, even though she's feisty, is still quite a beauty. Why would Tian Bao, a hired hand for my family, dares to lay his eyes on my sister-in-law? It was so hard for me, the young master, to finally get leave to come home. And you had to go and ruin everything. Tell me, don't you deserve to die? After eating and drinking their fill, they hastily stood up, preparing to handle their important business. No, I can't hold it anymore. I have to go outside and take care of this. I'll go with you. Despite the freezing weather, both of them unbuttoned their clothes, ready for action. Seeing this sight, Lewin could only shake his head. How disgusting, an eyesore. Without hesitating, he grabbed his staff and charged straight at the two men. With a single blow, both of them collapsed. Thinking about what they'd done, Lewin felt nauseous. He pinched his nose. These two scumbags took a hit from my staff. They've definitely got a serious concussion. Another man rushed out from the house. Old Ninth Wan Yao, where are you two? Did you fall into the cesspit? Leowen didn't hesitate, swinging his staff and knocking the man down. Go eat. Hearing the noise outside, the remaining men rushed out. Who's there? What's going on? Seeing the scene before them, they fell silent. They drew their weapons and faced Lewin. You dare come here looking for trouble? He wasn't afraid of this group. With just a few basic moves, all of them were down. Looking at the weaklings sprawled on the cold ground, Lu Yin scoffed. I haven't even taken out my key yet, and you're already down after one hit from staff. With such pathetic skills, you dare to be gangsters? The leader, furious, grit his teeth and turned to curse at him. Who are you to dare ambush me? Seeing him still conscious, Lu Yin raised his staff high and without hesitation struck him hard. The man cried out in pain and finally collapsed to the ground. Damn it! The more Lewin thought about it, the more irritated he became. He repeatedly struck the man's body. You bastard. Your big fat greasy ass is disgusting. Yusti. Feeling that wasn't enough, he even kicked the man, sending him flying. He lay there pitifully as if his soul had left his body. Recalling the kick, Lewin felt a sense of pride. My leg's strength isn't half bad, but now is not the time to be smug. I have to get to the main task. He quickly rushed inside, searching every nook and cranny. After a while, he discovered the hiding spot and exclaimed with joy, Found it! Opening the chest, he looked at the IOU notes. Without a moment's hesitation, he tore them into 100 pieces. So, you like giving out high-interest loans, do you? Immediately after a gleeful Lewin stuffed all the gold, silver, and jewels into his own bag, he told himself, Isn't this just the ill-gotten wealth of evil men? I'm simply carrying out heaven's will. Reluctantly accepting it, of course. Without any hesitation, he quickly stashed the valuables away. Then he walked out casually. As he recalled what just happened, his expression grew pensive. I didn't say a word, and my face was covered. I certainly didn't leave any traces, but my actions were merely in self-defense. It's their own fault for provoking me. He turned his head to look at the group, his voice cold. I'm warning you. The only reason I'm not killing you this time is because I still have a conscience. Don't let me see you ever again. The leader lay motionless, trembling in fear. He had lost all his assets and been beaten to a pulp. Lowen smiled. For the next 6 months at least, this damn fatty won't dare to cause any more trouble. It feels so damn good to be a good person. Suddenly, a snowflake fell and touched his nose. Wan looked up at the sky, a gentle smile gracing the corners of his mouth. He believed that good things were on their way. Heavy snow predicts a bountiful harvest. It seems this Taoist master is about to ascend. He returned to his residence, and once again Lewin trained tirelessly. He thought to himself, martial arts are easy to learn but difficult to master. It's not just about techniques, but also a book key in blood, and qi and blood originate from one's physical constitution. Without the aid of medicinal herbs, it would take at least 5 years of hard training. But with medicinal resources and my current aptitude, I only need 1 year. This is the true meaning of the poor study literature while the rich practice martial arts. He focused. Suddenly, the fatty tossed him a strange bag. All right, stop training, he ordered. Take this. I've already gotten you the medicinal ingredients you need. This is my money, kid. Don't disappoint me. Wen, filled with hope, replied, Sir, your money. I'll definitely pay it back very soon, the fatty sighed. Bullshit. Going from proficient to lesser mastery and then achieving a superior grade foundation, even with medicinal aid, would take at least a year. You won't make it in time. Before he could finish, Lewin declared resolutely, I will definitely be faster. Hearing that, the fatty felt somewhat reassured. He turned to go back inside, but didn't forget to add a threat. The new year is coming up, and you have 2 days off, but you'd best stay here at the shop. I heard Cha District is in chaos. A group of thugs got seriously beaten by someone. If you must go home, remember to be back by the morning of the 2nd.